because I'm learning. All right, we're recording. Okay. So what I'm going to do right now is quickly go over the daily engagements and the time tracking of Clockify. All right, you have time tracking here of Clockify. Again, the help tutorials. I'm on record saying they're not very good, but they're there, right? They're long and they're basically I just need stuff for all Eastern courses and projects, right? So the sticker project and anything in your life that is considered a project. Like what else are you doing for your classes that is considered a project? And that is much harder than you might think. It's really hard to define what a project is and is not. Okay. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pretend, let's see here, I got pages everywhere. All right, I'm gonna pretend, right now, so what I did was I went through and I deleted everything, right? What we're pretending right now, okay, y'all can hear me, yes? All right, what we're pretending right now is I have done nothing. It's like forget this, I'm not listening to that calling guy. I am not going to track any of my time. I'm not gonna track any of my projects. Uh-oh, but it's due. Okay, so that's the scenario that we have right now. Right, we're pretending that the student hasn't done anything, right, and something is due and they need to get paid. It's happened to many contractors, like, uh-oh, right, where my revenue is getting low or my cash flow is getting low, right? How am I gonna, like, ooh. And you get busy with projects, okay? And so these are scenarios that you're just gonna have to work through, right? So that's a scenario. So let's go ahead and share the screen here. And I'm going to show you how we're going to work our way around this. So why I'm saying all of this right here is this is a good reason to get a bookkeeper. This is a good reason to make this a habit. These are all good reasons, right? Because you want to avoid a situation like what we're pretending is we have right here. Okay. So let's say a bookkeeper costs you, let's say it's $500 a month. And your thought is, wow, that might be my rent, right? Or that might be, that's quite an expense. $500 a month to pay someone to do my bookkeeping. If you can pay someone $500 a month to do your bookkeeping, it means the rest of your money coming in is actually pretty good, right? So just like you would pay someone to, mow your lawn or fix your plumbing, right? I got a leaky sink right now. Those are professionals, right? And just like you're a hired professional to do the same thing. All right, so let's come in here. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into projects. And you see this go into projects, right? And this student has no projects, so we're gonna quickly create one real fast. We're gonna be super fast about this. All right, here's web 1. I'm gonna create this. Okay, I'm gonna make this as easy as possible for anybody who is falling behind right now. This should take 5 minutes to do. All right, so we have professional practice, web 1, right? We have our project, and you have any additional projects for any additional classes, okay, additional projects, additional class. And then we have our sleep project, which is non-negotiable. Okay, right, sleep for no client here on select client, no clients. This is what happens when you start over. Create, let's see here. Sleep project for no client already exists. Oh yeah, because it's in, I archived it. Sleepy, let's just call it sleepy. Is everybody good with that? All right, and then we have our active rest. Okay, I'm gonna call this thing active rest. It's just giving me a warning saying you already created a project called sleep that is archived, and I just didn't delete it, I archived it. All right. All right, so this could be 4 projects, right, at minimum, or 40, depending how you break it down, like literally 40. Like if I could show you my list of projects, I believe in the David Allen way of thinking. If it's more than 2 steps, it's a project. Like I have a project in my, in the tool I use called a Mother's Day, because getting Mother's Day together is more than one task. All right. We're gonna pause on that. Okay, I really need to think about it that way. All right, so now you get all that. Easy way to fix this is go into timesheets. And then we're going to go to, instead of this week, we're going to go all the way back, right? Because this student hadn't done anything. Okay, so we're going to go all the way back to April 6th. Okay, so right here it says Monday, April 6th, Tuesday, April 7th, so on and so on. Okay, and then the fastest way to do this is select your project. So first is sleep. Okay, and then Web 1, professional practice, right? Active rest. So what I would do is I would come in here and just select all the projects that you have. And then what this view will allow you to do, right, is begin to get an outline. I'm going to close this window, right, of where all your time is going. Okay, so let's do sleep, right? You're getting your 8 hours of sleep. Okay, so there, boom, that's sleep, all done. Right, so that way we can't say like, oh, we're not getting any sleep. Right, so maybe you're getting 2 hours of rest a day, active rest per day. Okay, so the downside to this is it isn't as granular, right? But it's going to get you paid. And it's going to get you a timesheet. It's going to get you an invoice. It's going to be a starting place. So in the future, it can be more granular, right? So you can break it down to the half hour, to the quarter hour. Okay, and so maybe we're going to spend 2 hours on Web 1 one day, right? And so maybe these are just the hours that you have in class. So at bare minimum, right, there's 2 hours of lecture for Web 1 on Monday, Wednesday, and then a professional practice, 2 hours lecture. And what this goes to show you is you can begin to get a broader view where all your time is going. All right, we good on this? Okay, and then you're going to do the same thing, right? And so I'm kind of a little iffy on this interface, but if you click on this and then you drag these sliders around, right, you can get a snapshot, right, for a specific amount of time. All right, so once you have all of that, okay, you can now go into reports, okay, and go to, we're going to go back. You can even use these shortcuts for last month, or you can click on here. Okay, what I'm trying to do is address a few questions I've had via email, like all at once. Okay, and if we do that, we can see our breakdown, right, of where our time is going, right, for each project here. Okay, now what I want you to do is to ignore, right, all of these USDs, right? Really what we're looking for is the time. So in this case, we've had 14 hours of active rest, right? 4 hours of Web 4, 4 hours of professional practice, and 56 hours of sleep, right? And really what you're trying to get to is as close to what number as possible per week. What number are we looking for? 168, right? We're trying to get to we're trying to account for as many of the 168 hours per week as possible. Okay. All right. So once you get those, all right, you can go ahead and come in here and save this report, right? You can call it invoice 1. Okay. You can call it April 6 to, okay, April 20. Okay. Get the stuff saved into here. Okay. What's nice about this is you can go back and fix it. What we don't want to do is saying, oh, I lost track, or right, I messed up, I give up. I need us to stop giving up. All right, I need us to fix stuff. Okay, so once we get this set up, okay, the next thing we're going to do, right? All right, so before I move on to the next step, is everybody clear on how you can retroactively fix your time tracking? Okay, this is important. Okay, this is good. This is why in all classes I teach you version control, how you can go back in time. Okay, all right, getting enough thumbs up. So now that you have that, right, and you got this report, so we're gonna go ahead and, right, I'm gonna go save this report for, I can call this report week 1, call this whatever works for you, right? I'm gonna go ahead and hit save on this, right? And then I can go back into reports. I can see this saved report. All right, so there's my week 1, and I can even copy and get the URL to this thing, right? I'm gonna pop this open in a new tab, right? So here's my week 1 report, okay? Now, what I want you to do is ignore these hours, because I think this is what's tripping up some people, okay? So what I did instead was I simplified this whole thing. I made it super, super easy. So if we go to Notion, all right, into your Notion under, where are we? You're going to go to, oh, You guys are not supposed to see that. Let's see here. Your daily engagements. All right. Again, you can change the view here. Find the view that works for you. I'm liking the calendar view. So for today, I just want you to fix your hours, right? I pushed back some of the daily engagements, right? One of your classmates correctly said, like, hey, you just posted these. Like, I know. It's true, right? Push them all back. Go back, right? And just fix your time. That's all I want you to do today. It's just fix all of your time. And if it's fixed, great. If it's not fixed, fix it. Okay? Because I want to get you paid. Okay? We keep pushing back these paychecks because the time isn't correct. Okay. All right. So we're good on double checking our time, right? Ensure your time is as accurate as possible. Okay. And in doing so, you're going to find patterns, right? You're going to find patterns in how you behave. And if you like the pattern and those are positive and productive patterns, then keep going. If you're having negative patterns that are not productive, you need to be aware of those too and get rid of those. Okay. So the next one you need to do, right, is invoice this. Now, I'm going to have you manually invoice this because some of the automated stuff in Clockify is confusing people. So I'm like, all right. This basically you take the hours times the rate, and that's all I want. So let's make this super simple. All right. So can you bill me for sleep? Can you bill professional practice for sleep? Dumb question. All right, good. So when you shake your head, no, great, no. All right, so you're gonna come in here. Can you bill yourself for any of the project and professional practice? Yep. Right. So I'm gonna say, well, how many hours did I put into professional practice? So this is what I want is from April 6th to April 14th, right? A 14-week period. Okay. Like how many hours did you put into professional practice? In this case, from this, 4 hours. Okay. Hopefully it's way, way more than 4 hours. Okay. Then we're gonna put in 4. Okay. You're gonna use this template that I created here, and then you're gonna give your rate. What's your rate for professional practice? Some of us is 100. There's your subtotal. All right. $400. Same thing here. Whoops. Don't make another card. Okay. All right. Web 1, hours 4, rate 100. All right. Good. This is how we're going to invoice. Dead simple. Okay. I've made it as simple as I possibly could before we write this thing on a napkin. Okay. Any questions on how we're going to invoice? I don't want you to use any of the advanced features in Clockify. I just want something like this. Hit space bar, say yes, throw up a thumbs. You understand how we're going to invoice. All right. Thank you. Okay. Let's get into contract. Okay, let me get rid of these times for you. All right. Let's get into today's topic. And so the 13th and the 14th are going to be invoice 1, invoice 2, and 3, right? Invoice 2, invoice 3. Let's get all of invoicing out of the way, right? 2-week chunks. Okay, we're in week 6, so therefore we need 3 invoices, 2 weeks at a time. All right, so we're done with Clockify. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Okay, contract. Oh, shoot. We're 15, 20 minutes in. We're just getting started on contracts. Y'all need a break? All right, this one is going to run a little bit long. So let's take a 1-minute break, stretch our legs, because this might be a bit. Okay. So I'm also going to, on record, get some coffee. All right. Take a break. I'm going to set a 1-minute timer. Go. Okay, so we're gonna break this up into two segments, right? In the first segment, we're gonna talk about today. So when we get into contracts, I get meta about contracts. What does that mean? I'd like to talk about why they exist and how they're everywhere. And these are very long lectures in class, because one of the things I'm going to have you do for next class is actually read through your student contract. And I can bet that the majority of you have not read your student contract, because I know I didn't when I was a student. Right. Well, that's not true, Colin. I read it. Awesome. You right now reading it, understanding it, those are different things. And sometimes I'm like, wow, they're breaking their student contract. Do I tell them? It's like jaywalking, right? You stop using the jaywalking example. No, it's one of the best examples there are. We're not supposed to jaywalk, yet you still do it. Okay. So one of the things we can't do with a contract is use it as a shield. Another thing you can't do in a contract in terms of what's called contractually is indemnity, is you can't be used as a shield, right? So no one can say like, I'm protected because the designer is going to take the fall for this. The freelancer is going to take the fall for this. The best way I can think about contracts, Joe, is they are a mutual understanding of stuff that is so obvious and so clear that you need to have a good starting point. A good contract is one that you write, everyone agrees to, the sign is signed, and is never looked at again. If a contract has to get revisited, something went wrong along the way. Yeah. So let's start talking about the on a meta level, because what you're not going to get from me is I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer. I am not an attorney. You aren't going to get like, but Colin told me to put this in. If you ever say, but Colin told me to put this in the contract, or oh, I didn't put it in there because Colin didn't tell me. It's easy for me. Ready? I'm not a lawyer. I'm not at fault for this. Okay. Other things is, all right, I know a lot of designers that say, I don't want to work with a contract, right? I know a lot. I was like, I'm good friends with my clients. I said, that's great. That is wonderful. That is great that you don't have a contract. You should. You should always have a contract. Just in case. What do you mean by just in case? Well, let's skip down to where this all starts. All right, ready for just in case. So where I like to start with contracts, everybody, and believe it or not, where did it go? Is right here. Let's talk about celebrity prenups. Okay, so I love these celebrity prenups because they get the point across. Let's see here. All right. So Jennifer Aniston, Justin Theroux. Let's see. The agreement is so tight in the event that they split 200 of 200 million of Aniston's assets, right? Leaving roughly net worth. So leaving her man with just a net worth of just is relative, right? It's objective, 20 million. Okay. I like the weirder still parts. Colin, why are we discussing this? Well, the back of your receipts, there's a small contract. All those check boxes that you don't read and say, I agree to the terms, I agree to the terms. The fact that you don't own the computer that you're on. What? I bought this thing, right? You don't own Windows, you don't own Mac OS. You're borrowing it. They can take it away and they can take it back at any time. All your stuff on Instagram you don't own. Want me to keep going about all the stuff you don't own that you think you own? Right? And so what we want to do is we want to just clear the air. Yeah, I think these are a fun way. We're still. Let's see here. What? It's just. Let's see here. Let's get some of the fun ones here. This one is tough because my son's in the room. Usually I go off on these. Okay. No spousal support. There's a phone one. All right, here we go. Weirder still. She has to leave the mansion if they get a divorce. Of course, Hugh Hefner has since passed, so this one doesn't apply. Let's get to the weirder still parts. Okay, why are we looking at this, Colin? Everybody, can someone chime in why I'm showing you celebrity prenuptial agreements? What is this related to a contract for? She will get custody of all 6 of, right? Keep going. What's weirder still here? All right. All right. So which one is Carr? Is that the Kardashian? Kardashian will also will get courtside tickets to Lakers games and a new car and $5,000 per month for shopping and of course $1,000 in beauty allowance. Why are we looking at this? I'm going to keep reading these until someone tells me why we're looking at celebrity prenups.
I honestly don't know.
How does this relate to a contract?
They have a contract of marriage, and then there's the additional contract of that prenup to protect both parties.
Yeah. So so Bhavya, what is a prenuptial agreement?
Basically, it's like if anything goes wrong, this is how everything's gonna be split in half, or this is how everything's gonna be split between like kids and money and assets.
Okay. Now, now these are subjective things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, $5,000 subjectively for shopping is a lot. Is it not? It doesn't matter, right? That's not the discussion. What the discussion is, well, thank you, Bobby, is they're taking the subjective and they're trying to make it what?
Objective.
Objective. That's it. That's a contract, y'all. Right? This is on the meta level. Let's start thinking about this. How do you take all that subjectivity in your work? Now, subject stuff, right? Colin, how does this apply to me? Well, what happens if you do, whether the contract says good work or bad work? How do you define good work and bad work? You poured your heart out into a design. The client says, I don't like any of it. Subjectively, I don't like any of the work that you did. How do we quantify that objectively? This is why we're looking at celebrity prenups. Because they're still trying to take all the objectivity in a relationship, right? And normally in class, we go through a lot of these, okay? They're fun to look at. You guys aren't obviously as interested in this as past classes. Okay, look, $640,000 for the duration of the couple's marriage. Right? How do you come up with that number? Right? Think about the absurdity of this for a second. 2 people, a whole bunch of people, not 2 people. Let's think about this. A whole bunch of people got into a room together and said, "Hey, I need $640,000." No. Now, here's the thing. It didn't start at that number, correct? I'm sure, right? Whomever Keith Urban is probably wanted more. And the other team said, no, that's too high. And they had to negotiate back and forth. Right? Someone's getting this every year they stay married. Okay. All right. Let's see here. The lifestyle was caused. All right. And then we get into just some really nasty stuff. Right? Look, someone got into a room and decided this. I'm just going to leave that there. A whole bunch of people got into a room together and said, 135 pounds is the objective number. Right? So there's a bit of an absurdity, right, to taking the subjective and making it objective. Okay. Now, Colin, I'm done with this example. Like I can't take it. I don't know where you're going with all this. Here you go. Here is the AIGA standard contract form, right? And how it's broken down. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Ready? In all its glory. It's so long that my browser can't even keep up. My browser is struggling with the 70 pages of this. And this is broken down, right, in all the different types, right? It's print specific, interactive, environmental, motion specific. Okay. And what a lot of people do is they come to this contract and they just copy and paste. Copy and paste. They put it in, well, I copy and paste the AIGA contract. And I put it into my contract. And this is the same thing I say to designers, and this is where I stop screen sharing. Just a second, right? Do you understand what you copied and pasted? Do you understand why that was necessary? That's why we're having this discussion right now. Because what you're not going to get from me is these are the 1, 2, 3 ABC things that you need in a contract to be safe. Because I've been told this by many legal professionals, a contract, right, can't protect you, 100% protect you. It just doesn't happen. Politics aside, all right, everybody ready for this? Politics aside, politics aside, politics aside. Okay, let's talk about this. Every other presidential candidate, right, has submitted their tax return, has made their personal finances public. Every presidential candidate has made their personal finances public as part of running for the job. Right? It's written down somewhere that you got to do these things. Right? The current administration hasn't done that. The current president has not done that. Essentially breaking, right, an agreement, essentially breaking a contract. Okay. The point I'm trying to make here is even on, right, the most important levels, right, all the way down to celebrity prenups, all the way down to jaywalking here, there are these agreements that are broken all the time. This is the meta level I want you to start thinking about this. Okay. So what we need to be able to do is understand not so much the terminology, right? What we need to understand is what are the components that we need for your project, for your line of work, for what you want to do. Okay. And how do these protect you? Your presentation this week, okay, is one we watch in class. Very few times do I actually give up the podium. Very, very, very few times do I actually give up the podium. This is the 2011 presentation by Mike Montero. You can see that the title of the presentation right here, right? You all know me. Colin doesn't give up the podium to anybody. I'm doing the talking, right? And for 38 minutes, I give it up to from this 2011 presentation. It's still good, right? We watch this one and we begin to break it down. Okay. It's really all about this idea of designers, right? How do you take something as subjective as creative work and make it objective? Okay. Again, you want the bullet points. There's this great thing called Lynda, right? Download this contract template, put your name on it. Do you know what you just looked at? Great. That's why we're doing all this. Okay. All right. Go ahead and take a look at these celebrity prenups of your own on top of the 2.8 million. Oh, look, you get an extra 5 million for infidelity. Okay. You know what we used to do in class? We used to discuss like, what is infidelity? Right. Sliding into someone's DM, is that infidelity? I just learned, I learned what that was last quarter. Is it? Right? Okay. Yeah. Is it? Is it infidelity? Yep. Guess what?
I don't believe so.
Right? Guess what? Everybody in class starts arguing it, and I just sit back and laugh. And there was like, well, why aren't you involved in this discussion? It's like, because I don't care. Right? I don't care about the discussion itself. I care, right, that we're having the discussion. Okay, that's the meta point I'm trying to make here. Okay, contracts are everywhere. This is one I just recently ran across. I'm submitting a grant to the to Eastern. Okay, look what it says here. Text should be double-spaced 12-point font up at the very top. This is the same thing for your RFPs. They're called requests for proposals to get work. We'll talk about getting work later on. So why do they put this stuff in there? This is the font you should use. This is the font size. Why do they put that in there? A lot of contracts are set this way. This is a contract. I'm agreeing to do these things. Why is this in here, everybody? Why are we looking at this? Why does it matter? All right, it's a Monday morning. They just want to see if I read it. Many requests for proposals, many RFPs, right? They put these very specific details in to double check that the person submitting for the work actually read it, that they actually understand. I had a professor in college that always made us put Baba Black Sheep into every single RFP, into every single request for proposal, into every single $100,000 million project. Why? Because he says he's getting these projects on his name and his prestige and his credibility and on his past projects, and that the person reading it, right, didn't even read the Baba Black Sheep part. We literally put Baba Black Sheep into all of these. Okay. More examples. Okay, this is where we're at today, right? More examples. All right, let me skip around here. All right. I'm that parent, or we're those parents. Right. My child's name has to be omitted. Well, my children's names have to be omitted. Their faces cannot be shown. Right. I sign these all the time. You better not. You want to see me really, really upset? Put my kid's face up on the internet somewhere without my permission. Why do they need to do this? Why does this contract need to exist? Oh, because of difficult parents like you, Colin? No. Right? Without getting too far into it, is some kids, other than preference aside, right? For objective reasons, their face, right? They're minors. I'm protecting my minors. Okay. More contracts that are everywhere, right? The previous football coach for Wazoo, right, left. This was handed out. Right? Imagine you got a 4-year job, right? That is getting about $5 million every year, right? And this is handed to the media. You go to your first press conference where you're announced as the new football coach of Mississippi State, and this is what's handed to the media. Because this is a common question. It's like, what are they getting for winning this game? Right? What do they get? What does Mike Leach get for going to this game? How are these numbers defined? Because, all right, is this the same for every single coach?
No.
No. All right. So Alex, right. So this had to be negotiated, correct?
Yeah.
Right. So Colin, I don't want to do this. Well, you better hire a lawyer and you better hire an agent. You're going to have to do, what does this have to do with getting a job? Because at some point someone's going to go, you know what? We want you to work with us. You're going to go, great. Where's my contract? And on there is going to be your annual salary. How is this any different? So Mike Leach had to get into a room and said, wait, I'm only going to get, I want $100,000 if I'm named coach of the year. And they say, no, why don't you one time? How about 75? And I said, no, that's still too high. All right, 50. I'm just making this up. I don't know what really happened. Okay. All right. More examples of how this stuff is everywhere. All right, here's a famous example that I have kept around since, what year did this happen? I want to say 2012, 2011. We can look it up. I'm gonna say 2013. I'll look it up after class. Okay, this is obviously, right, without even reading it, this is a talented designer. they designed this website, they coded this website out, right? Has good typography, all the look at this note, right? So just visually, if you looked at this, if this was all lorem ipsum, you're like, this person has design expertise, correct? Right? For a 2013, 2012 design, right? This hits it. Right, so Frank Yonin, right down at the bottom there's the name of his company. Okay, long story short, he wasn't getting paid for the work he did for this website. So he made this very, very heartfelt letter, and he took down the client's website. And he put this up instead. And he aired out all the dirty laundry on both sides. Who wins in this scenario? Alex?
Small company that made this website.
Well, so by the designer doing this, taking down the website, right? Sorry.
No one?
Trenton, say that again.
I said no one.
All right. Tessa, do you agree with what Trenton said? You're not. No. Oh, look, I put this on grid view. I can see everybody now. Haha, Tessa, do you agree with Trenton
What did Trenton say?
that no one
Yes.
wins? No one wins in this scenario.
I don't know.
All right, Renee, how does this make the designer look?
What do you mean?
Well, you're the designer. You took down the client's website. Let's put yourself in their shoes. You weren't getting paid. You took down their website, and then you put up this letter, right? That says, I wasn't getting paid, and this is why I took down the website.
Yeah. I think it makes the company look worse than the designer.
How so?
It shows that they don't pay their bills.
Okay. So Renee, by making the designer look bad, making the company look bad, does that help you out as a designer?
No.
Right. Now, are these all subjective things?
Yeah.
All right. So Joanna, you're the company now, right? You there? This is fun. Call out names.
I do think that it is kind of unprofessional for the designer to put it all out there for everyone to see.
Yeah. Why?
Because maybe this should be settled in private between the designer and the company.
Right. Amelia. All right. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. You go to this website, right? So Joanna, thanks for the. All right, this is where we're gonna end. Amelia, you go to this website, right? Because you're looking for info. You're the customer at this place, SF Fitness SF,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're like, I'm just going to this website to get the hours, right? I want to know, so I want to know if they're open today. And you go to the website, and this is what you see as a customer. How do you feel?
Well, I mean, it's confusing for the customer because they're just trying to get some information, but they can't even get that anymore because, I mean, the website's unavailable when it was supposed to be available. So to me, it'd be like unprofessional on both parts.
Thank you. So
Um,
now, go ahead.
Yeah, going off on what Joanna said, I feel like what could have happened is maybe the designer tried to contact the company, right? And maybe the company kept brushing them off. So like, I feel like this was like a last resort move that the designer could have done too. So I'm thinking could have happened too.
But if there's a contract, can't they go to like a legal system and say, hey, they broke a contract?
Yep, they could. You guess what, y'all? Ready? You all are right and you all are wrong. I hate when Colin does that. I hate when he talks in the third person, and I hate when he doesn't give me a direct answer. Why are you all right and why are you all wrong? Because none of us have read this contract. This contract may or may not exist, and this whole thing could have been prevented if there was a contract. Because this could have been this could have been a misunderstanding. It's like the client's like, well, you didn't specify when you needed paid and how often. Basically, the only thing is what I'm trying to show you here is this is a lose scenario. Everybody loses here. Customers lose, the clients lose, the designers lose, everybody loses in this scenario. As soon as you start throwing immense subjectivity into an objective situation, it gets tough, right? You get into celebrity prenup land. What I'm trying to say is you're trying to avoid situations like this. Okay. All right. So for next class, okay, what you need to know, okay, is do you always need a contract 100% of the time? The answer is maybe. Ready for this, right? Does a contract protect you or your clients and your employer 100% of the time? Maybe. Okay. All right. Are all the required components of a contract? Are there like the same requirements of all contracts? Maybe. It's all this ambiguity that I need you to start getting used to. Okay. And these are all questions that you need to ask. Oh, look, I did find the link. Yeah, see. Let's see what year is this. Okay. We're going to get into the easy stuff, like put this in, company name. Let's get this out. What year was this? I'm just curious now. Let's see if I was right. I said 2013. Hey, look, I was right. Okay. I can still remember stuff. Okay. All right, this is what I want you to do for next class. Ready? Okay, now where is it? All right, the Eastern Washington Student Code of Conduct. All right, here we go. What for next class, you're going to review the sections, okay? And then I want you to think about what new things did you learn. I'm gonna ask you, okay? I even might crowbar this in, judging by the reaction today, right? As a daily engagement here, is I want you to understand, right? What I've done is I've picked these specific parts of your policy. So the entire student code of conduct is really big. It's a lot. There's a lot of stuff. Here we go. Ready? Ooh, look at all that. Look at all those rules that you're breaking all the time. How do I know you're breaking them? Because I've read this and you haven't. Right? Am I going to turn you in? Is Colin a narc, snitch, whatever? What do you guys say nowadays? It's snitching, right? This generation says snitch. Okay. So much so that there is an entire page called relevant policies to the student rights and responsibility. And I find this fascinating. Subjectively, right? They decided, these are the relevant policies to to students, right? And one of the relevant policies is what? The alcohol policy and FERPA and academic integrity. But what is this suggesting to me? That the other policies aren't relevant? This is a really subjective word, is it not? Okay. So what I want you to do is read through these policies, right? And I just want you to address what new things. And every time we do this, we learn something new. And the thing you need to know about all of these policies is they're updated and they change. And you need to be aware of those changes. And just like any contract, you signed into this agreement, y'all. Okay. And I have the utmost respect for student athletes for many reasons, right? One of the first ones is it's hard to be a student and an athlete. The other thing is they have an entire booklet that you would not even believe right, about being a student athlete and all the rules around being a student athlete. They have the whole NCAA to deal with, right? And I have so much respect for that. Like, that is what they can and can't do, things they can and can't accept, how their hours are spent, like, utmost respect. Yeah. So in a lot of ways, student athletes kind of have a leg up on you in this, is they have to read, right, their athletic agreement. Okay. So, all right, is everybody clear what we're doing for next class? You're going to read these 4 policies. All right, just pick one of the 4 policies and answer this question: what new things did you learn? Right? And if you didn't learn anything new, I'm going to say that's awesome, because you can give lecture now. Right? I would be very surprised if you read through all that and said, you know, I didn't learn anything new. I knew this all. That'd be shocking to me. All right, we good? Okay. Notice we didn't get into the nitty gritty easy stuff yet. What's the easy stuff? Right. Well, right here. Basic terms and conditions. Do you know what those actually mean? And that's what we're getting into. Okay. All right. We've addressed the meta level and all of this stuff. Okay. I'm going to stop recording. Any questions?